Oh, hi, Mark. Alrighty. Well, I'm here today to talk about The Dead Hate the Living. This is a bit of a niche film. I actually looked up reviews for this on YouTube after I watched it because I was sort of kind of high on this movie a little bit. I like it quite a bit, and I wanted to hear what other people had to say about it to kind of figure out what the consensus was. And I couldn't find any reviews on it other than like very, very small YouTube channels, like myself. Uh, if I recall correctly, one of them sounded like AI generated. um, so yeah, not a whole ton of variety in reviews for this film. So let me just add my review into the big schlock pile of tiny YouTube channels with bad content. No shade to those YouTube channels, but uh, to kind of, you know, add to this movie's wonderful and obviously very storied legacy. So The Dead Hate the Living is a something 2000 something film. When did it come out? Shows you how great I am at reviewing films. It came out in the 2000s at some point. I know that because it feels very like 2000s, um, 2000s esque in just in the way of like how people look and the quality of the camera and everything like that. And I will say right off the bat, well, I guess I'll tell you what the movie's about first, eh? So, The Dead Hate the Living is about a film crew who are filming in an abandoned, what I'm gathering to be some kind of mortuary or a morgue. Um, and they're kind of there illegally. No one knows they're there. The whole film takes place in the mortuary. And while they're in this mortuary, they find a corpse as well as this giant coffin thing, and they have the brilliant, extremely morbid idea to use the corpse in their movie. And they decide to put the corpse in this coffin thing and use this symbol that they find in their movie. And as they interact with this coffin thing, I'm not sure what it is exactly, and they put the corpse in there and they turn the symbol, and it turns out that that coffin thing was a portal to another dimension, some kind of limbo, which they say a number of times in this film, so I guess it's supposed to be limbo. This movie is really reminiscent of kind of Fulci's movies, and actually they reference Lucio Fulci a number of times in the movie, something I loved. I know a lot of people get weird about that whole fan service thing. I love when movies do fan service, at least fan service to things that I like, like Lucio Fulci. Especially just the, I don't know, the obscurity of the references in this, I guess, is what I like. It's funny. I see a quote on the back that says, "A vibrantly gruesome Argento esque nightmare." I disagree wholeheartedly that it's Argento esque. I don't think there's hardly anything Argento esque about this movie, except for maybe the lighting in a couple of scenes um, where things are kind of vibrantly colored, and they wouldn't be like that in real life, obviously. Some blues, some reds, some purples that wouldn't just be there in real life. But what this movie feels like to me is a Lucio Fulci movie. That's exactly what it feels like. It feels like a very obviously not shot by Lucio Fulci, but a Fulci film. Like if Fulci was going to make a movie before he died, and then he died before he could make it, and then it just kind of got shifted to the next guy. Of course, these guys aren't Italian. I'm pretty sure these are all American filmmakers, and it's very amateurish. There is not the best acting. It's pretty spotty. The special effects makeup is very low quality. But I will say that I enjoy the special effects makeup. For me, low quality practical effects are still a lot of fun. I think there is some CGI in this movie that looked pretty bad, but a lot of it is practicals, and I think it looks a lot of fun. It looks a lot of fun. That's great grammar, Malachi. Keep that up. But I think it looks very fun. I enjoy the special effects makeup, whether or not it's fantastic or not. So that's not really something that's going to affect my enjoyment of the film. Personally, I think that the movie goes on a little long at first. It kind of takes a little bit to get set up. We spend a lot of time with these characters in the beginning of the movie during the shooting of their film. And, it gets a little boring, but not necessarily to me. It's more so just I can see how it would be boring because, you know, there's just a lot of these characters, and these aren't great characters. They're just like little whatevers. Like they aren't insufferable. They aren't great, except for what's her name, Nina. God, Nina is fucking dreadful. I could not imagine being around that woman for more than .7 seconds without just like throwing my head in a microwave and pressing fucking the popcorn button or something. I hate that character, which I think you're kind of supposed to, and it's a shame. I don't remember Nina's death, and that is a shame. I would really like to be able to come and tell you she died in a rad way, though I don't remember how she died. There are some cool gore effects in this movie. There are some cool gore pieces. There's one that sticks out in my head that I really enjoyed was at one point they rip this guy's gut open and his intestines kind of fall out and his corpse falls, and this big zombie dude grabs his intestine and he starts dragging him by his intestines. That's cool. Probably not very realistic. I don't think that's how that would work. I think they would probably just like yoink right out of your stomach, right? But I think it's very cool. Another thing that I think was really cool was actually the guy who plays Tiny in House of a Thousand Corpses was in this movie. I believe this film came out before House of a Thousand Corpses. It's funny because there are actually two parallels to like Rob Zombie things that I see in this, which is Tiny, which he has a bunch of makeup on his face, and immediately I was like, that's Tiny from House of a Thousand Corpses. He's got a very distinct facial structure and kind of just a distinct way he stands because of his, or he had, I guess, rest in peace to that guy. I think his name is David Lee Lucas. I don't know, it feels disrespectful to mention him without knowing his name. I'm sorry. That dude was cool though. But in what the fuck? Main title by Penis Flytrap. Well, apparently the main title theme was made by a group of surely classy gentleman by the name of Penis Flytrap, which is beautiful. That's a thing. In any case, yeah, that it was cool to see him here. And then the main antagonist looks like he just walked off of a Rob Zombie album cover. I think it's so funny. Like I don't know. He looks like I don't know Rob Zombie albums very well. I don't listen to a ton of Rob Zombie, but like when I was listening to Living Dead Girl back in the day, the album cover on that's what he looks like. That's exactly what he looks like. Which is really funny that he just looks like Rob Zombie. But I enjoy him. I enjoy the way he looks. I enjoy his presence. It's a very hammy performance, as they all are. But I think that he really kind of chews it up. He's pretty good in what he's doing. I enjoy the special effects work on all of the zombies. It's a lot of fun. Even though, the special effects aren't great, I have a lot of fun with them. As I mentioned previously, the colors in this film are very, I think that's the one thing you could really say about it that's Argento-esque, is kind of the use of color in different scenarios, which, I mean, a lot of Italian films did that. To call it Argento-esque is just kind of ignoring all those other ones. I mean, I get Argento did it more so than the other ones did, but like, I don't know. Bava did it before him a lot, you know? So, like, it's also Bava-esque, I guess. Um, but yeah, I enjoy all of that. I enjoy all the fog they used. I do enjoy, although I don't think that this is going to be a popular opinion, a lot of it is very nonsensical. Surprise, surprise. The movie where they find a corpse and use it to shoot a movie, and then it opens up a portal to some kind of weird limbo dimension where the dead hate the living and they just want to kill them, doesn't make a lot of sense. I know, it's a shocker. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, it is pretty nonsensical. Um, like there's a scene where they're on like set, like an area where they've made a graveyard for the set, and all the zombies start rising out of the fake graveyard, and it's I don't know, that didn't make a ton of sense, And I think a lot of people look at stupid things like that and they'll roll their eyes and go, "That's really fucking dumb." So I'm gonna be when I rate this film, which I'm not there yet, but when I rate this film, I'm gonna try and be as objective as possible, while also kind of factoring in my opinion. It's not gonna surely be objectivity, and it's not gonna surely be subjectivity. I'm gonna try and strike a balance in between, as I usually try and do, just because I feel like if I give it too high of a rating, people are gonna be like, "You're a dumbass," and they wouldn't be wrong. But I don't want people thinking that. What do you think? I'm some kind of idiot? Wait a minute, shit! Don't answer that. What song is that? It's an Eminem song. It's okay. I think it was on the Eminem show. I don't know. We're gonna move past that. But in any case, they have a scene in here where they very Return of the Living Dead-esque, where they're talking to this zombie who I guess is stricken by rigor mortis. Well, zombie. It's unclear as to what these things are. Extra-dimensional beings, whatever. Angels to some, demons to others. Explorers in the higher realms of experience. We'll tear your soul apart. Okay, I'm done. But they're not Cenobites. That's just what came to my head when I said extra dimensional beings. Yeah, it's unclear as to what they are. That's why I think this movie is very Fulci-esque, or at least one of the reasons is because that kind of harkens back, in my opinion, to something like The Beyond or City of the Living Dead, where it's like they're zombies, but they're ghosts, but they're zombies, but they're... Who gives a shit? Like, who cares what they are? They're zombie ghost things. All right, I'm not going to look too far into it. And that is perfectly where I think this movie sits. I think it sits right there in, like, Fulci territory. Not anywhere near as good as Fulci. The movie isn't shot as well as any Lucio Fulci movie I've ever seen. But it's a lot of fun. Yeah, the makeup, the even some of the characters are kind of fun, even though I find some of them pretty morally questionable. By some of them, I mean pretty much all of them. But what are you going to do? It's a movie. Who cares? And I really do enjoy the fact that the script was written by people who obviously are horror fans. There are a lot of callbacks, as I was stating earlier, with the whole people getting annoyed about name dropping and callbacks. I really don't. It's different if it's like a Marvel thing. I feel like Marvel, maybe they're just too big to do that without it being kind of cringy. But when this does it, it's like, oh, that guy gets me. And that's probably what they're doing. I've been manipulated by the system. But but I really like that. They have a tombstone in the background that says Lucio Fulci on it in their fake graveyard. There's a Fulci Lives bumper sticker, which I think is so cool. There's like a shot zoomed in on it as the car drives away. It says Fulci Lives, and it's got the zombie from Zombie 1979 on it, or Zombie 2, or Zombie Flesh Eaters, depending on where in the world you're at. The 900 different titles that movie has. But And then there was also, they keep telling, this is actually a gag that I liked. They keep telling this guy, you're going to be the next David Warbeck. You're going to be the next Dick Miller. And each time they tell him something like that, he's like, who's David Warbeck? Because, these guys are kind of obscure for the general audience member. And obviously this guy's not, the character, the actor himself isn't like a horror fan. He's just a guy that's trying to get into acting. And so they're like, you're going to be the next David Warbeck. Who's David Warbeck? Which I had to look up myself, actually. I'm not gonna lie to you. I recognized him instantly when I saw him. Same with Dick Miller. But I was like, oh yeah, it was the guy from The Beyond. And it was the guy from The Beyond. But in any case, I really like this movie a whole lot. That being said, it has a lot of technical issues, a lot of issues with the script not being the best, a lot of issues with the acting, a lot of issues with the practical effects, the CGI, a lot of issues with well, there were more issues, but I spaced them because my noodle is all kinds of scrambled. But in any case, I think this is an extremely fun movie. It's a full moon movie, which I think is crazy because full moon usually, in my personal opinion, puts out movies that feel just like, we want to make money. You want to give us your money. Let's join forces. You give me your money, I'll take your money, and then I'll shit down your throat with Puppet Master the Legacy. Honestly, fuck Full Moon for that movie. Alright, that's not a movie. Puppet Master the Legacy, if you've never seen it, I'm going off on a tangent. You can suck my pinky, Cassandra. Puppet Master the Legacy. If you have never seen that film, I hesitate to call it a film. I shouldn't call it a film because it's not a movie. It's a bullshit compilation of all the other Puppet Master movies with like 10 minutes of new footage spliced in. I don't even know if it's 10 minutes. I think I counted it up at one point to be like how much new footage in this, and I want to say it was like 9 or 10 minutes, maybe 11 minutes of new footage in this whole movie, and the rest was fucking old Puppet Master movies. You should be ashamed of yourself for doing that. And you had the nerve to give it a DVD release and charge money for it. You're sick individuals over there at Full Moon Studios. Even though you have some movies that I like, you still sick bastards. Even though I tend to like Full Moon movies. They do feel like cash grabs, but I do like them because I'm a problem. I'm what's wrong with the horror genre today. In any case, guys, I think The Dead Hate the Living. I'm sorry, I added an unnecessary S at the end there. The Dead Hate the Living is a really fun movie. Also, I forgot to mention that zombie who has like rigor mortis in the Return of the Living Dead-esque scene. This chick puts her fist through her head, and the hole is like leaking what looks like a no-bake cookie batter. It's awesome. It's so cool. If you're not a fan of cheesy special effects, you will not be of that opinion. I was of that opinion. I thought it was really fun. But yeah, guys, The Dead Hate the Living, very fun time. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I think that's pretty fair. In my personal enjoyment level of it, probably a 7, 7.5. But I think 6 is pretty fair because it has a lot of issues. But I still think that there's a lot of flair here that shouldn't go unnoticed and unrecognized. So, The Dead Hate the Living, check it out if you haven't seen it. This movie rocks balls. Oh, and something I should have said at the beginning of the video, it was directed by Dave Parker. I don't know who that is. But, alright, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Probably not, but I'll keep saying it.